Everybody. We are the road trip planners. My name is Han Cui.
My name is Zhenyi Hu.
My name is Zheng Rongjian.
My name is Boy Xu.
Before everything starts, let me ask you a question. How many of you had the experience to plan a road trip, and how many of the experience were really bad? And here is the problems when you planning a road trip. You can find a travel agency for your road trip, but the travel agency doesn't have a lot of flexibilities. When they come up a plan, you have to follow their plans. And if you want to plan your own road trip, finding places is really hard. And collecting information is also really inconvenient and it's taking time. Making decisions is also really hard. And Google Maps will be a very good helper. As you can see, you want to drive from San Francisco to San Diego. The Google Map will give you an Interstate 5 to drive, but obviously you don't want to drive on the interstate all the time. You know there is the California Route 1 on the west coast. You definitely want to see some views on that. But the Google Map will not give you the viewpoints where you should go. Here is our project will help you. We will help you to build a customized travel plan, and basically we will use Google Map APIs. And we have the experiencing share system and authentication and communication functionalities.
One of our main functionality in our project is a customized travel plan. As we can see here, this is our design for the user interfaces. The users can first entering the starting and the ending point, and both points will be shown on the right side in the travel plan. And just like you can see in the blue line here, the route will be marked here using the Google Map. And the second step is you can choose the miles from the route between the 20 miles to 15 miles. Between these scopes, you can search for the service points and the views between them. Just using the text we offered at the top of the page, like the food, hotel, gas, or the national park, or other kind of things. If by clicking that, the related information will show us the points in the pink area. And if you're moving your mouse over that point, they will show the name of that places and a brief picture of that place. If you are familiar with that places, you can just click a favorite place to recommend to others or add to plan, so that it will be shown on the travel plan on the right side. If you are not familiar with this place, you can just by clicking the points, and the pop-up windows will show the detailed information about like the description of the places and others comments on it. If you are a registered user, you can both comment and rating these places, like sharing your experience with other users. Okay, let's go back to the add points to the travel plan. After you add all favorite places in the travel plan here, you can just click the Save the Plan button and maybe name this route. Name this plan, and later this information will be stored in our database, and you can further review it or share with other people. And here is the abstract process of our customized travel plan.
And as you can see, we will use Google Maps API. We will the same route from driving from San Francisco to San Diego. Using our system, you will able to drag the route, and the Google Map will also handle all the searching systems. And you can see you can add waypoints along the route. For example, here you can add Los Angeles from San Francisco to San Diego. And the Google Map API, and in our project, we will use all the other Google Maps APIs functionalities.
And this is our experience sharing system. In this system, users are allowed to write their own travel journal and tag it with their own customized tag, which can include the cities they visited, the sightseeing point, the service points, etc. And after they post in their journal, the other user will be able to search and see this journal. And also in the journal, the users are allowed to upload their photos of the places they visited, which enhance the experience. We also have a rating system which the users can rate almost everything on the map, like the views, the service points, and etc. And based on this system, our system will do some recommendation. Like after you log in your user account, there will be the system will recommend you the hottest journal, which is based on this rating system. And after you generate your own route, there will be journals which is relevant to this route, or hotels or dining places along the route, which is recommended by the system.
So, according to the previous customized requirements noted in the previous parts, a user system is obviously necessary. Different categories users have specific access. And for example, registered users have their own user page, profile, and uploaded photos. They can also save plan to their personal plan, while visitors can only use our map tool to plan a trip but cannot save it. Also, for this will be detailed in the use case. Also, for information verification, when users register for our web application, we may ask them to provide an email address or fill in a verification code. Also, in the third part, we also provide a question and answer module for users. It's similar to Yahoo Answers, but focus more on travel questions. Users who is planning a trip can post their questions about such as whether this place is worth to go, and if these places have some fun things. They can post these questions, so other users who already visit these places can give them recommendation. And for example, many cities have city pass or various ticket combo, but when people want to buy these things, they may not familiar with these fares. So they can view our website and ask help and learn about these fares from others who has experience, so they won't waste time or money. Also, to strengthen the communication between users, we also set the comments functionalities to blogs. So registered users can post some comments to the blogs, so they can communicate with the owner of the blogs if they have shared a similar experience or is planning a similar trip of road.
Well, here is our use case based on what Boy just said. We have three categories of users. The visitor, which is a non-registered user, and the user obviously is registered, and the administrator. The visitor can only view our website and create the map, however, they cannot save or reload their previous maps. And for user, pretty much they can do everything on our website. For the administrator, they can only access to the web app view and read Q&A and delete any post comments and Q&As, but the administrator doesn't have any access to the user's functionalities. But the administrator will also have the abilities to verify user, to verify your travel journal, and they can delete everything from the website.
Here is the composition of our database. After we discussed with our mentor, Justin Schuyler, we want to better use the detailed information offered by Google Map for like the location or other kind of detailed information that the Google Map has stored in a large amount of data, so that we don't need to store it in our database. So our database will mainly focus on four parts. The first one is the user part. It will store the related user basic information, the user's name and the password in that. And the second part is for the journals or called the blogs. The registered users will like write their article and they will be stored in here and related to the users. And the third part is the comments. Since we offer the functionality for the users to comment on the journals, the plans, the places, or other like pictures, so we will also store these informations. The last part is for the route I have said before, like the customized travel plan will be also stored in our database.
Well, here's our relational database management system and web server choices. For the management database server, we have many choices such as the SQLite. The SQLite has one big disadvantage, which is it doesn't allow multiple access at the same time. And in the future, our web application definitely will have multiple access, and it will definitely have huge data. And for the PostgreSQL, it's similar like MySQL. The reason why we choose MySQL is because there are a lot of offline MySQL database there, such as the MySQL Workbench and the XAMPP, which allowed us to do database management offline. And the MySQL is a large-scale database server. It's open source and it's very easy to use. For the web server, initially we will choose our individual Babbage server to do the testing things. And at the very end, we will launch our web application on Amazon Web Server because it's really cheap and has 1 year long free trial, and it's really easy to use as well. For the version control, we will use GitHub.
So for the methodology, based on the research work, based on our design of our project, we choose the incremental development. As you can see in the diagram, this methodology breaks the whole project into several segments, and each increment will go through a waterfall process to complete part of the project. And this flexible model will allow us to do some, will cost less, allow us to change the requirements and involve the project with time if we have any future expansions. Also, because we break it down, so it may take less time to debug and test in a smaller iteration. The only prerequisite of this methodology is that all the overall requirements and the the definition of the whole system must be set before we break it down and build it, which we already finished this part, so it won't be a problem for us to use this methodology. And for the web architecture, we choose a very classical one, model view controller. As you can see in the diagram too, it divides the architecture into 3 components, interconnected components, and each component takes responsible for the specific functions. Users can use the controller to manipulate the model, and the model can update the view, and which can be seen by the users. This classical architecture allows us to develop each part in a separate way, and also it can make a cooperation coding work more organizedly. But as you can tell from the second line, we won't use the pure MVC since there is a limitation of using model view controller. When even the interactions between the simple data with the view may lead to a complex code when there is a large intro model dependencies. So we will combine the to simplify the architecture. We will combine the MVC architecture with some single page design.
As is mentioned, what we are going to build is a web application. The idea is that we want to build a cross-platform application, but since the time is limited, so it is hard to build a version for each of the popular operating system, for example, like Android, iOS. But web application will allow the users with different platforms to view this web page properly and comfortably, which ensures such comfortable experience. Most of you must have some experience when using your mobile devices to view some web page or scaling your web browser on your laptop. This may result from the lack of self-adaptive functionality. And in this project, we are going to use the Bootstrap, which is a responsive framework. It has the self-adaptive functionality, which ensures that all the users can have a comfortable experience whenever devices they are using. And for the backend framework, we are not going to use any framework. We are going to use the plain PHP. We know the PHP framework are very powerful, but it is powerful only if the programmers are familiar with it. And it takes time to learn these kind of frameworks. And we believe that the time we spend in learning these frameworks has overweight the time is saved for us. And besides, the core functionalities of this project involves very simple PHP codes, mostly the storage or retrieval of data, which makes it more easier to implement. So we decided to use plain PHP.
we will use JSON as our data format to transmit the data between the database and the website. The reason we choose JSON, one of the most reasons is that it's our web development project. So we will use JavaScript as our main tools, and JSON is just derived from the JavaScript, and it can directly parse in the JavaScript, so it's easy for us to use, and it's easy to encoding and decoding. So another reason is that it's also human readable, and it can both transmit the simple data type and the complicated object. And also Google Maps chooses it to transmit their data. The third reason is that all of our group members are familiar with JSON, and it's easy for us to use. Since compared with XML, although XML has a long history and has been widely used by a lot of people, but XML needed a lot of preparation work, just such like the XMass and XPath and XSchema. In order to learn these new kind of things, it's not suitable for our Capstone project. And for YAML, it's a superset of the JSON, but the actual functionality offered by XML is not quite useful in our project now, so we won't choose YAML. Also, there is another kind of data formats also based on JSON, but have different features like BSON, message tag, or other SML. So overall, JSON is powerful and most suitable one for our project, so we choose JSON to be our data formats.
Well, at the very end, this is our sprint for next semesters. At the very beginning, we will set up our database and build our authentication system. And after that, our map system allows users to build, save, and reload their map, their road trips. And after that, we will get our experiencing share part done and the Q&A sections done. And finally, the UI and testing. Because we are using the incremental software methodology, we definitely will have testing after every section is done. And as I said before, we will launch our application on the Amazon App Server, so maybe we will have some future functionalities and development as well. So that will be all for us. Do you have any questions?